You are listening to episode 74 of the Peaceful Mind Podcast. Welcome to the Peaceful Mind Podcast, a place for creating the peace of mind you need to be the best mom you are created by God to be. If you want to bring more balance, more joy, and more peace to your motherhood, this is the place for you. I'm your host, certified life coach and Catholic mom, Danielle Tienel. In the name of the Father, of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, let's get started. Happy New Year, everyone. I am so excited for this time of year, except for the darker and more cloudy weather days. But the bright side is the warm fires and the coziness of it all. And my favorite, having hot cinnamon tea, which if any of you are interested in knowing the best hot cinnamon tea there is on earth, then message me on Instagram or email me directly at danielle@danielletienel.com, and I will happily reply to tell you all about it. Because when I was first given it as a gift, I haven't stopped. It's so good. Okay, anyways, before we get started today, I also just wanted to let you know that there are only 6 days left to grab your spot for my group life coaching program that is set to begin next week. Now, this, of course, is for those who are listening to this week's episode in real time when it's released, which is January 4th, 2021. I'm sorry. No, that's wrong. See how I just reverted back? Happy New Year, everyone. It's January 4th, 2022, if you're listening to this the week that it goes live. But if you are listening in the future, let's say 2025 or 2030, then first of all, wow. And second of all, welcome. And third of all, you better just go check danielletienel.com for the latest on what my life coaching opportunities are. Ha! That's so cool to think about. So now as I am recording this, the group has not reached its capacity yet, but, maybe by the time it's released, it is. But there's only one way to find out, and that's to connect with me. So let's get on to today's episode. It's becoming a tradition to record an episode that sets out to help you have a happy, healthy, and holy new year. If you're a new listener, you might not know that there's already an episode that came out at the beginning of 2021 of the same title. Except now I have added the addition of it being called the 2.0 version. And if you haven't already, I'm going to urge you to go back and listen to episode 22. Yes, it's episode 22, because I love what I share with you in the first Happy, Healthy, and Holy in the New Year version. And this year's 2.0 version is going to be different. Why? Well, because I'm different. I have a year more of applying these tools and concepts to not only to my own life, but to dozens and dozens of my clients' life. And so I've had a year under my belt, even more than when I recorded the last one, to see the effects and to change my brain and apply this in my own life. And I myself, I have a different brain right now than I did last year at this time. It's had a lot more coaching. It's gained more wisdom. It's gone through more positive and a lot more negative emotions that have both yielded me results that I have gained that wisdom from. And I have another blessed year of life. And I've had more time to see how Christ has worked in my life. I have overcome some obstacles and I've been challenged in ways I wouldn't have chosen. But I've also grown in new ways. and even surpassing some goals, which has been so fun too. So what I have to offer for you today to help you have a happy, healthy, and holy new year, it's different now. Hence, it's being called the 2.0 version. And I now predict today that next year's will be called 3.0 version. But let's not jump the gun. Let's focus now, because where we are all collectively and traditionally in the new year is to assess, right? Like assess what last year brought you and what it is that you want to create for the new year. So this is the time when many people set goals and just think about having a new, fresh start. But here's one thing I want to remind you about that future focused when we're setting out for goals for the new year. Life coaching doesn't very often look into your past. It doesn't need to have that information in order to be of help to you to move forward. And that is because our past does not predict our future, nor does it need to have any bearing. That the most important thing for you to know is that on your journey to being a happy, healthy, and holy mom, the most important thing is, what are you thinking about yourself in those categories today? Because what you're doing today, right now, meaning what you're thinking about, what you're feeling or how you're feeling, and therefore then what you are fueled to do or not do in your life. See, that is what matters about creating what's going to happen in an hour, next week, next month, or throughout this whole new year. So what I want to provide you with in today's version of Happy, Healthy, and Holy in the new year is I want to give you a little tool. I want to give you a tool that you can carry around with you as your life is going on, and it will be able to immediately have you be able to just kind of take stock and assess on whether you are moving forward and getting a little bit closer, even if it's just inching along, it's still progress in these areas of your life where you are working towards that contentment and that joy that you're wanting in your life and being satisfied with your life. And then whether you are kind of making improvements mentally and emotionally to your life, as well as on this kind of spectrum of holiness. Are you, moving towards a little bit more dedication to God, maybe a little bit more dedication to the sacraments or your prayer life or your friendship and connection with Christ? I want to give you a tool, and it's just a little bit of a play on one of the tools that one of my life coaches, Samantha, that she has provided me. She calls hers the belief scale. And though that's exactly what we're going to be using, I want you to be able to apply this for the happy and healthy and holy assessment that I know that you moms want, because that's what I want, and I'm you, right? I am the faith-filled mom who is navigating this life with all of its challenges and issues, and this has helped me so immensely. So I wanted to apply it and give it to you. So this is how it works. Every day, you can start your day by asking yourself, on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy am I? And then just pick I would say just pick what number that comes to your mind. And I want you to then answer why you picked that number. So let's say you are feeling a 5, okay? So on a scale of 1 to 10, and that's with 1 being unhappy and 10 being like intense joy. And a side note is that, with most everything, I say, if you could write this down, then that is even more powerful for our brains to recognize. But I understand even if this just becomes a mental habit, it's still beneficial. It's a check-in with yourself, right? check in. Where are you on a scale of 1 to 10 when it comes to being happy? Find out and assess where you are right now. And then you ask yourself, why did I pick that number? And you write that down. And that tells you what you are thinking right now, thinking that's creating that level of happiness. And then you ask yourself the question, what would I need to think in order to be a 10 out of 10? And then when you answer that, you will get all of the thoughts that will help you create moving towards that greater, more intense joy. And it's those thoughts that you would be thinking that are available for you to choose and help you to get there now. Okay? So let me just, if you're not with me yet, just let me demonstrate it with the second one, with the healthy part. So we just went over the happy. So then the healthy. And remember, when I speak of healthy, I'm thinking about your mental health and emotional health, and then there's your physical health. So you want to separately kind of assess that. So on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being very unhealthy and 10 being like just extremely healthy, how would you rate your mental health? How easy are you positive and optimistic and are able to kind of be aware and control and choose with purpose, like what you're thinking about? Do you mostly have good thoughts, or are you someone who kind of swirls in worry and guilt and overwhelm? And just kind of assess where you are right now, today in life on that scale. And so I want you to then write down why you picked that number, and you will have your list. And those thoughts are the ones that are creating your current state. So then we want to find out, what would you need to think in order to be a 10 out of 10? Meaning, if you were already there, if you were extremely mentally healthy, then what would you be thinking? Do the same for your emotional health, okay? So on a scale of 1 to 10, what is your emotional health today, right now? What would that number be? And then you tell me why. Write down, tell yourself why. This is why I'm feeling like I am, let's say, a 3 on the emotional scale. And you could write down things like, oh, I got a phone call from the school about my child, or I got some bad news about a friend who had an illness. Or you could say, I really wanted to attack the garage and get that organized, and I was not able to. And so I'm like frustrated because, I don't know, the kids wouldn't nap, or somebody called and you answered it and you end up talking longer than you thought. I can just think of a whole bunch of random things, but I want you to think of what it is for you, right? Why you are at that level of the scale in this moment. And then you go to the question, well, what would I need to be thinking in order to be a 10 out of 10? If I was like extremely emotionally well, where I was just like very focused and determined and content and just whatever those high level emotions that you're looking to feel. And then what would you need to be thinking if you were already there? Because what you're thinking creates how you feel. So if you were already at that where you were proud and feeling successful and feeling just really loving, and you were at that heightened state, what would you be thinking? Okay. And then lastly, well, you can do it for your physical health as well. And then lastly, for the purpose of our new year, we want to take a look on where we fall personally on a scale of 1 to 10 with our focus of being a holy, faith-filled woman, right? Our Catholic faith just calls us to be of service and to follow sacraments and have a prayer life. And so you just want to assess if this is something that you want to have more of. On that scale, if you were like 10, I'm extremely like holy, taking actions that I want to, or 1, no, I'm not there. I'm not doing what I want to do. Where do you fall between that 1 and 10? And then tell yourself why. Why are you? Did you miss a few weeks of Mass? Have you not been to confession lately? Or are you up there like, oh, yes, I've really dedicated time each day to prayer, and I made it to the Adoration Chapel several times. And just, what it is for yourself of where you are and where you want to be. This is super personal, but it's also just good to know where you are, what you're thinking about it, and then you want to ask that question. For you, what would it look like if you were already at a 10? And then what would you need to think in order to be at that 10? But let me just sort of round out what I think that this tool of this belief scale that I got from my coach that I wanted to offer you, what it does, okay? We are looking to assess the new year and ourselves and what we're looking forward to and how we want to change and what we want to grow and become. And this belief scale, when applied to the subject of your happy life, your healthy life, and a holy life, which I think generally makes up and kind of encompasses the whole subjects of what we want to, work towards for our life, then it's a brilliant way to find out where your mind is and where your heart is right now. And as I've said before in life coaching, this is what matters, because the present moment and what you are choosing to think about and how you are feeling and what you are doing and not doing in your life is the way that you create everything going on into your future. So asking these questions on any subject, really, I've just focused on happiness, healthiness, and holiness. You want to ask yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, where do I fall with this goal, right? With this goal of where I want to be. And then why did you pick that number? And then from there, when you ask why, it'll reveal what you're currently thinking. Then the next question is, what would you need to think to be a 10 out of 10? And when you do that, that's when you get to hone in on the thoughts that you're not currently thinking, but that you could choose to think. And if you do deliberately think those thoughts, that is what will help you move forward to create that ultimate goal of yours. Okay. I wish you all a beautiful new year, and of course, hope it is the happiest, the healthiest, and holiest one yet for you all. I love you all so much, and here's to a new year, and I will see you in a new week. All right, take care. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the Peaceful Mind Podcast. Are you ready to take everything I teach you here and put it to work for your own life? To really learn how to have peace of mind no matter what is happening around you? If so, I'd love to have you as a client. As your coach, this is where you'll get personal and focused time on your own mind using life coaching tools, concepts, and proven life-transforming wisdom, all through a faith-filled lens. To learn more about how we can work together, come on over to danielleteenel.com. There, you'll see how to sign up for a free coaching consult and learn how to get started. Until next time, peace be with you always.